Hello, folks. It's been far too long. Welcome to the Gamesline Podcast. I'm John. I'm here. I'm ready to talk about video games. Spencer, you are here as well. Hello.
Hello, and I am also ready to talk about video games.
Goodness gracious, there have been some video games in the past, almost a month since we have last spoken in a recorded sense like this. We've been working on Game of the Year stuff, and everyone's also been very busy with their life things, so it has been a mess. I apologize still that it has been far too long, but we got jobs and shit like that, you know? Spencer, though, I'm very glad that you are here with us today to talk the gaming. There's been a good amount of stuff going on. We kind of narrowed things down to a certain number of news things. But you've also been gaming. You have quite a list here. I have less of a large list, but that's mostly because I've been playing long games. Would you like to discuss a little bit of stuff that you've been up to lately? Because, it's been a good minute since you've been here. I mean, what's going on with you, Spencer? Not even just games, though. The people want to know. The frothing mass of desire to know what's up with Spencer is reaching a critical point. What's going on?
Well, I've been in many minds, so to speak, combing through all of the refuse and rubble. Sometime, I want to say around holiday season last year, I started getting back into Library of Ruina, Project Moon's second game after Lobotomy Corporation. And I had played that game. I tried to play it the year prior, 2022, I want to say. And I got, I want to say maybe a quarter of the way through it, and then I just kind of, did that classic thing where you put the game down and then you were like, I'll get back to this later, and then you never go back to it. And I remembered really liking it, but just taking a really long time to, get through some of the battles, because that game's systems are really fun, but it is the kind of game where I only really started to get into it once I watched a 40-minute YouTube tutorial on how the combat system works. It's not like a Pokemon or a Persona where you can just kind of infer things, or it just kind of does a good job of teaching you what to do. It expects a level of experimentation, or at the very least a level of knowledge about how deck building works, kind of, to really make it all click together. And I've always been bad at those kinds of games. Even just generally card games, I've always been bad at them, just because it's hard for me to conceptualize what makes a good card. And if you give me an obvious example, the infamous Yu-Gi-Oh card Pot of Greed, obviously I understand that playing a card that lets you draw 2 extra cards on your turn after you've already drawn a card is really, really good. That kind of goes without saying. Same thing with the what's it called, the Black Lotus in Magic the Gathering. That's also it's also a really good, powerful card. But in the context of Library of Ruina, it's I don't fucking know what makes a good card in that game. So
I will say that for those cards that you mentioned, though, you do have to have an idea of how the game itself works, because for example, you mentioned Pot of Greed, and that card is broken in Yu-Gi-Oh, but a card that only draws you 2 cards in Pokemon is okay, because card draw is so much different in that game, and Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have mana or energy or anything like that, and that's why Pot of Greed is so good. But then, if there was a card, in Pokemon, there are cards where you draw up to 7 cards and stuff like that. So, I would say that it would it probably, like, yeah, you said once you like watch that 40-minute YouTube video, it probably did help a lot just to have that baseline concept of what a good card is, and that will lead you to good deck building, because it's just like, okay, I can read this and I can compare it to what I have and what I have had, and this is definitely better, like, yeah, like, like if you look at, say, a card like, if again, we're going to compare Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, like there's a card like that is an omni negate that only works for a specific archetype, like it's like, oh yeah, no, this can negate whatever your opponent does, but it has to be tied to the specific archetype, and that archetype is bad, that means that card is bad. But something like Solemn Judgment, where it's an omni negate that can negate anything, but all it does is just have your life points, it doesn't have anything tied to a specific archetype of cards, that makes it good, so yeah, so like it's just all about understanding the concept, the bedrock of the game. So how did you watching that video let you understand Library of Ruina's mechanics better, so you could choose cards better?
So that guide mostly helped me with the actual mechanical concept, and it helped to conceptualize Library of Ruina less as a deck building game and more of like a tactical game. Like it's more, it has more in common. Its gameplay is more in common to do with XCOM or Final Fantasy Tactics Advance than it does with like your typical deck building games like Slay the Spire or what have you.
Right.
But it just uses deck building as a way of basically equipping your characters. You equip them with like a character page, a key page, and then you give them 9 cards, and they always have to be 9 cards. And that's the part that makes it a bit easier for me to parse, is because I don't have to build a deck of 30 to 60 cards. I just have to pick 9 cards, and then once all those cards have been used, they go back and they get shuffled back into the deck. So you never run out of cards. But that 40-minute video really helped me figure out, like, okay, this is kind of what I need to prioritize when I'm actually in combat. There was a specific like Steam guide that I had been following that actually helped with the deck building, and it was really interesting because when I started using it, a lot of the decks, how the guide's structured is it basically tells you, here's some decks that I built. Mm-hmm. You can use them at these stages, and then they gave recommendations of like, when you do this fight, these are the decks that I used, but you can, and they also gave a bunch of alternatives. And whenever you unlocked new cards, they kind of told you like, here's some decks you can build with these cards. When I started using that guide, the 4 decks that I had, the 4 characters that I had built, more or less matched up with the decks that they had been using at that point in the game. It's just that theirs was a bit better. For example, a lot of they were actually using cards that let you draw more cards, whereas I wasn't really doing that. And they had cards that gave your characters like refreshing their light, which is like each character's like MP that they use to actually spend on the cards. Mm-hmm. And so as I kept using that guide, it kept becoming more and more clear of like, oh, this is why this is good, and this is why I should be using this. And even like way into like the late game, which is where I am now. I'm at like the very like last bit of Library of Ruina now. I have like, there's basically like the big final boss thing I have to do, and then after that, it's the end game sequence more or less. But I'm doing a bunch of like little things here and there to sort of get all the decks built that I need, because you have to build like, I want to say like 20 different decks or so. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for different situations and all that. Yeah.
And also for your different teams too, because
right.
The final thing seems to be like it's a 10 phase fight, and you need to have decks for like all of your teams and shit. So,
damn.
Okay. But one of the things that's been really fun about Library of Ruina is, one, like the world building and the character writing is really, really good and compelling. It's just. Mm-hmm. Hey, what if we took all of the people on the planet and crammed them into a city largely the size of Phoenix, Arizona, and then we just cranked the capitalism dial up to like a bajillion degrees? That's basically Library of Ruina for you.
Right.
But the actual mechanics are pretty fun because they've got your typical like RPG stats, like there's burn, and there's like bleeding that you can inflict, but one of the more interesting ones was smoke, where smoke is a status effect where when you have a stack of smoke, you take that much more damage, and you can stack up to 10, so you can take 10 more damage from an attack.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the cards that inflict smoke also give the user smoke. But the part about building those key pages is key pages come with a bunch of passives, and this is where the real like build crafting in Library of Ruina comes together, because there's a passive that changes smoke so that when smoke's on your character, instead of it amplifying incoming damage, it amplifies outgoing damage. So now the characters, so when you fight the characters who have smoke as their big mechanic, because whenever you do a new fight, there's like, oh, here are the characters who use burn. Here are the characters who use bleed. Here are the characters who use like discard decks, basically. The characters you fight who use smoke, they're all equipped with that passive that changes smoke for them. So you have to fight an uphill battle where they're inflicting smoke on you while they're buffing themselves up with smoke. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that I would recommend people try out, especially now that it's going to be available on Nintendo Switch. I cannot imagine what playing that is like. I've been playing it without mods, and Rose and my friend Tyler both recommended playing it with mods, at least the mod that like cuts down on how much like grinding you have to do, because if you like lose a fight in Library of Ruina, you have to go and like get the cards to go and redo those fights pretty much.
Yeah, that is one thing that I am kind of a little worried about for the Switch version. Like, I have tried Library of Ruina a little bit. I would like to get back to it eventually, but everything that the immediate thing that everyone is just like, you need to download mods, and specifically the big mod that you have to get is just the one that gets rid of the grinding, because there's a mod that just, when you clear a level or whatever, or when it gives you like 1,000 of the item that you need to move on to the next thing, so you can just, like, level up stuff, or make the cards that you need, or like recruit the characters, and then you could just move on instead of having to replay the same thing over and over again. And I do wonder how that'll shake out once it gets ported. Like, I don't think that they will just be like, okay, yeah, we're gonna give you 1,000 or whatever, but I do wonder if they'll bump it up even a little bit just to make it a less grindy, or if they're just gonna leave it and they're gonna be like, fuck y'all, go buy this on Steam if you want to play it like a normal person.
Like, I say this, but like, I've been playing it without any mods, and it's been fine. I've only had to go and redo a fight, I want to say, like, redo a fight without me deliberately wanting to go and redo a fight, maybe like 3 or 4 times. Because there's some fights where it's like, I do them and it's like, oh man, I need to go get back and get that character's like cards, because I never actually got their drops, so let me go back and do that fight. But I've only like been stopped and having to go back and get those cards again like 4 times in my playthrough. And it is a bit irritating, a little bit, like not even like, I do mean like a little bit. It's like, oh man, I have to go back and do that other fight. But basically, how the game's structured is if you can beat fight A through C, and then you try to go to fight D and you lose, and you have to go do fight C again, you've already cleared fight C. You know how it works. You know what their gimmicks are. You're not going to be surprised anymore. And plus, you'll have some of their cards in your favor. So like, if one of those fights I had to do was go back and fight the smoke guys again, and hey, guess what? I have their passive that gives me the smoke buff now. So now we're just beating the shit out of each other while constantly buffing each other with smoke. And it was funny. But that definitely isn't an experience for everyone, which is why I would say, like, maybe do check in that mod for Library of Ruina that gives you 1,000 of the cards. And I really do hope that when they do the Switch version, they at least buff it up by like, give a better multiplier, because the other problem with the drop rates in that game is if you want a card from a specific character in a fight, you have to prolong the fight out so that their emotion meter reaches a higher level, because the higher level that is, you get a multiplier on how many cards they drop.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's a little bit weird. It does kind of incentivize, it does work with the combat system, because it incentivizes you to basically do clashes, which is where they do really cool, epic, like anime fight scene shit, where they're just constantly like you're rolling your cards against their cards,
right?
As opposed to one-sided attacks, which are like in a typical card game where it's like I attack your creature, and then your creature just like dies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to the combat system's built up to incentivize you to basically cause as much conflict as opposed to just all ganging up on one person at a time, even if that would be the efficient thing to do in any other game. But overall, it's been a fun game. It's definitely got some really good music for sure, and the art style is really captivating. I love all the artwork of the cards. It's one of my favorite things. It is one thing I do like about card games in general, is the concept of the cards not just being a representation of like creatures or characters or items, but cards can be representations of historical events. Like there's those Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are like the townsfolk who are like revolting against the oppressive regime that they're under. You know the ones I'm talking about?
Yes, people running about and all those. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
People, I think is one of them.
That's my favorite kind of like thing that people have done in card games before, or like the Pokemon cards that are like it's a series of what are they called? Pignite up to Embor, and it's like the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is I've always loved that stuff. Aside from Library of Ruina, I've also been playing a little bit of Lethal Company.
Yeah. I know that Rose and like her whole group there have been hopping on that quite a bit, and yourself included.
It's definitely a fun little. Hey, guess what? Look at that! Another game where they crank the capitalism dial up, so they're forcing you to go and collect like lollipops and bolts and metal scrap and horrifying facilities that on distant moons that don't make any sense. It's funny because I play with two different groups. I play with Rose's gang, and then I also play with my raid team in Final Fantasy, and both of those experiences are very different in terms of Rose's group is all about putting in as many mods as possible, and the mod scene for that game is explosive. It's huge. But like my Final Fantasy raid group, they do almost no mods. The only mod they do is the one that lets you play with more than 4 players. So it's very fun going from like a highly modded playthrough where some of the interiors are like dungeon castles, and you know what? The last session we played, there was an update to a mod. One of the new interiors is the sewers. It's straight up just the sewers, John.
Oh hell yeah! You gotta go down there. You gotta find all that shit. There was this one part where the big creature that's just like half of a body that just runs at you and screams at you. Other people in the team died, so it was just like me and like 3 other people. But it was like I was basically locked in a corner, and I had to run through the sewers just like trying to avoid it. And it finally decided to like scream at me and started charging at me. So I had to jump over it, because if I remember correctly, how it works is it gains momentum the longer it's moving in a single direction. And I had this long stretch of sewer that I had to run down before making a right turn to go to the exit. And so I'm running down this long stretch. I turn around, and then I just like Mario jump over the motherfucker. And then he has to spend time turning around, and then I jump over again. I still take damage, but not as much. And I keep moving. And so he turns around and then has to turn back around. And by that point, I'm gone around the corner. And then when that session ended and people were revived, they were like, "Holy shit, Spencer, that was fucking incredible." But it was was it terrifying. Like, the thing about that game is I am not a scary game person. I fucking hate scary games. And that game is like really jarring to play, but it's so goofy. And the shenanigans you can get up to in that game, something about it just takes the edge off, and you can still put yourself into scary situations, but it's surmountable, at least for me anyway. So if people are out there and they're like, "Man, this game looks so funny. I love watching all the streamers and YouTubers like shit themselves because they're scared. I want to try it, but I'm also a scaredy cat." Like,
I would definitely recommend giving it a try. You might surprise yourself. And if worse comes to worse, you can be the player who stays in the ship and helps coordinate stuff. There's no shame in that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Well, since I don't have a ton of stuff, I'm going to do some news, and then we'll hit back with you, and then, and then I'll talk about what I've been playing. So first off here, let me see. I'm going to randomly choose a news item. Okay, here I'm waving my hand over my computer screen, and I will randomly choose a thing to talk about. Okay. All right, this seems like a good place to start. Yeah, we had a state of play this past week. The PlayStation Informazione. I mean, I'll be honest right now, the state of play in video games feels not great. A lot of the times we're just like, oh boy. But I don't know, this was kind of a pretty meh state of play, I would say. Like, there was like a couple of highlights, but for the most part it was stuff that we already knew or stuff that nobody cares about. Like, yeah, let me see here. I'm just going through what they have on the PlayStation blog. One of the positives here is the remaster of Sonic Generations that's coming out, where they added new levels where you play a Shadow, and it's basically Shadow like revisiting his most iconic moments, just like how Sonic and classic Sonic had their iconic moments.
I will say that trailer did get me, in the sense that for whatever reason they structured that trailer for Sonic Shadow Generations so well that even though it makes no sense to believe this, for a second I believed that they were remaking Sonic Adventure 2. Like, that's how good the trailer was structured. And then I realized, oh shit.
I mean, they are kind of doing that, in the sense that seems to be what the third Sonic movie is just going to be Sonic Adventure 2, which is really funny and also very good. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, they I don't know too much about Sonic stuff, but I do know that, like, I guess the like main villain thing from Shadow the Hedgehog showed up and everyone lost their shit, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I especially don't know too much about Shadow the Hedgehog. I just know, like, the general insane things about it, like all the different like branching story paths and shit. There's like 3,000 different story or whatever the fuck it is.
The only thing you need to know about Shadow the Hedgehog is that he has the most amount of drip, the most amount of swag, the most amount of badass, the most amount of charisma that any character has ever had in the history of video games. And his whole gimmick is that he is a dark version of Sonic the Hedgehog. That's it. That's all you need to know about him. It shouldn't work, but it does.
Oh, I know that about the character Shadow the Hedgehog. I meant the game Shadow the Hedgehog. But no, like, Shadow the Hedgehog, the character, is one of the coolest characters ever made. Like, that is just the truth. Like, people back in the day would dog on, oh man, it's the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Like, oh, there's Shadow. Here's this dumb looking character running around with a gun. Everyone needs to admit right now, Shadow the Hedgehog walking around with that fucking AK or whatever, riding his motorcycle, it's sick as fuck. It's so cool.
The actual game, though,
no, it's bad.
The Shadow the Hedgehog game was like, it reminded me a lot. I've always compared it to Dirge of Cerberus, and that, like, they're both games where they emphasize like the black and red colored character from their respective works, who also happen to use guns. And it's like kind of all at least in Shadow the Hedgehog, it's a bit more like a traditional 3D Sonic game. But I will say, I feel similarly to Dirge of Cerberus that I feel to this game, in that I think that we should revisit Dirge of Cerberus as like a section in the Final Fantasy VII remake, much like how we should revisit Shadow the Hedgehog the game in this remaster in like a new remade setting. Like yeah, let's just do like the Sonic Generation stuff through bits from Shadow the Hedgehog, and I'm guessing also like Sonic 2 and
I'm trying to think of like what are Shadow the Hedgehog's other defining moments other than Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog? Like, is it like, I mean, he's in Sonic Heroes. I don't think they have any Sonic Heroes stuff in Generations, but I don't know. It's not really an iconic Shadow moment, though.
Yeah, I don't remember much from Sonic Heroes Shadow moments. Aside from the fact that like it opens and there's like a whole bunch of his clones and like vats. That's all.
Right.
So
I don't know shit about.
What else was in the state of play? More like the state of, man, when's all these unions going to happen?
That's right. So I'll kind of just run through a couple of the things that were just kind of trailers. They showed off that Stellar Blade game, which is one of those things where it looks like a fake video game, but you know, I feel like for a good long while, a lot of what was coming out of China were those like, man, this doesn't feel like a real video game kind of thing, where it's just like, we're just showing you like this extremely highly polished thing, and nobody fucking knows what's going on with any of it. But I think we've reached the point where it's like 50-50, where like a good amount of that stuff does still just kind of look like a bunch of crazy like concepts and doesn't really seem like it'll be something that'll like blend together into a real game. And then now it's like, oh no, we like we're getting all kinds of like cool, interesting games out of China now. Because I think that was just like part of, you know, like being a bit of a new entry in this industry and having a lot of money and then wanting to stand out compared to AAA experiences that you get from Japan or America, and now just actually being able to put those things out and stand out as their own part of the genre. Like, I think that makes sense, just like as the evolution of as their industry matured. But yeah, Stellar Blade still kind of feels like one of those things where like from the early days of China entering the games industry worldwide, it was just like, I don't know where y'all are coming from with this, but okay. Speaking of Chinese games, though, yeah, they had another trailer of Zenless Zone Zero, which still just depresses me so much because I wish it was not a gacha game. Like, when Hoyoverse makes a full-on non-gacha game, that will be the day. That will be the day. It'll be so good. Are you still playing any Hoyoverse stuff? Or
I'm still playing Star Rail, Honkai Star Rail, just because the gameplay for it's just way more my thing compared to Genshin Impact. Even though Star Rail is straight up built off of Genshin Impact's entire engine. Like, you look at those games played side by side, and you point at them and go, "That's the same game." It's got the same UI and everything, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Which is great, in my opinion, just because, like, yeah, why bother making a whole new ass system for a thing like this when you could just like use the structure you've already built, you know?
Totally.
That people have been doing this for years. Like, they do it in the Pokemon games all the time. At the very least, they used to do it with the Pokemon games with like Gen 1 and Gen 2 and then Gen 3 and such. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, like, the thing about Zenless Zone Zero is, like, that game was announced before Star Rail, I want to say, and it still isn't out, and Star Rail's almost, like, Star Rail is going to have its 2.0 patch going live, like, I guess when this recording is out. So
yeah, I want to say it's been like around a year by now, right? It feels like
at least. It feels like 2 years. Like,
oh jeez, yeah.
Like, Zenless Zone Zero feels like, it's weird because it's like if they like came out with Generation 1 Pokemon and they're like, hey, we're announcing Generation 2, and then they release Generation 3 the next year. It's like, what?
Yeah. I don't know. There was some stuff about Foam Stars from Square Enix. I don't think I've heard of anyone playing that besides, like, I think there was like the beta thing and people were just seemed like to be like, oh, okay, that was all right, but it just doesn't really seem like it's landed on anyone's plates yet. They had some gameplay stuff for Rise of the Ronin. And they had a very funny trailer. Oh my god, I almost forgot about this. Did you see that trailer for that fucking VR game? The Legendary Tales What the fuck is going on with that?
Oh yeah,
I just remember sitting there.
That one was fucking incredible.
It was nuts. They like started pile driving skeletons for some reason. I'm surprised that you're able to say that it was incredible when they were beating on your brethren so much.
Dude, that's why you put skeletons in video games. That's what they're there for. But like they pile drive
them through a table.
Hell yeah, brother. The fucking part where it's like they throw the shield and then it makes like an eagle scream, like, I see Captain America, and then they hold up the hammer and it does the lightning, and it's like, oh god, they're just aping whatever shit they can.
I kind of respect it. Like, who gives a shit at this point?
It's a goofy VR game.
Yeah. They're also making I don't know if this is a port or a new Metro game. It's a new game, right? Metro Awakening?
I would assume so.
Yeah. People seem to be upset about it. I mean, other than it just being a VR thing, I'm not sure why.
That's probably because of people want. I think I can at least say in my opinion, I don't think VR is a great path for video games to take if you're going from like, we are a pre-established series, we're now going to make a VR game, because you're just going to inevitably alienate all the people who don't have access to VR. And yes, there's more accessible versions of VR out there, but not everybody even wants to play that or even can play it for very different reasons. Like, I think VR is a great thing if you want to make your own shit in there, but I don't think it's a great path to take if you're already making other games. Because I would assume, like, at least if I was a Metro player, I wouldn't want a mainline title to be in a VR game in the same way that nobody would want a Pokemon game to be a VR title. Like, nobody wants that. So, but that's just my perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else was in this state of play?
Let's see here. We also had everyone's favorite indie game, Dave the Diver, got announced for PS5 and PS4, and they're doing a Godzilla DLC because, you know, Godzilla loves to cross over with tiny little indie devs.
I'm sick of hearing about Dave the Diver.
I feel a little bad because, like, I played the demo for that game, and it's pretty fun. It's just everyone just. Like, it wasn't even really its fault, even. Like, it was just Keeley put it in the wrong category, and now everyone's dunking on it. And it's like, no, it's a pretty fun game. It's just not an indie game. It's a smaller, like, scoped game, but it's not an indie game, you know? We're just, you know, it's still fine.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. It's like Jeff Keighley ruined Dave the Diver for a lot of people.
Yeah, Dave's gonna fucking show up at the Game Awards next year. In the fucking, like, wetsuit, and he's gonna start, like, shooting the fucking harpoon all over the place, pissed as hell.
I am fond of the Godzilla crossover, though. I am all for games having weird, out of the fucking just nonsense crossovers that make no sense whatsoever. Like, yeah, just fucking Dave's in the ocean, Godzilla's in the ocean, put them together.
There you go, yeah. There was also footage from the new Ken Levine game, Judas. And guess what? It looks like BioShock.
Yeah, I'm conflicted on it because I went and checked, and I played the 3 BioShock games in 2020. Like, I replayed them. Like, I hadn't played BioShock 2, so in preparation of that, I played BioShock 1, and then I played 2 and its DLC, and then I played BioShock Infinite again. And I remember loosely, here were my following thoughts on those games. BioShock 1, good game. I think I still like System Shock 2 more, just because there's more options you can do, but BioShock was a good, we're going to turn this into a different, like, time period, and we're also going to make it a console game. It was a good version of that. BioShock 2, really, really liked it. I was surprised to find out that it was more linearly structured compared to BioShock 1, but that doesn't detract from the game for someone like me who doesn't really care whether a game is linear or open world or whatever. The DLC was also really good. BioShock Infinite, played it, and I remembered liking Infinite when it was new, when it was fresh, when it was the new thing, but the years have not been kind to that game, and my sentiments on it have only gotten worse and worse as time has gone on. It just, if you completely disregard the story implications of BioShock Infinite and the character writing and anything else about the game, the gameplay is just unappealing compared to the other games.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rote, rudimentary. It's not fun to play. And so I'm watching this Judas game trailer, the Judas game, where you play as Judas, I assume, or you're on Judas or whatever. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I don't know if I want a Ken Levine BioShock clone game in 2024. I don't think I want it at all. I think if I wanted another BioShock game, then I would wait until somebody pulls a Lies of P and makes their own, and they're not associated with Ken Levine at all, and then they show that, hey, guess what? Ken Levine and his vision is not required to make a good BioShock-like game or System Shock-like game. Mm-hmm. So, because I was watching that trailer, and you're right, it certainly does fucking look like BioShock, but it's like, I don't know if I want that, and I think I don't want that. So, probably not going to check it out personally. I think it's very funny that he stopped making games for 10 years to come back and just make BioShock again.
Thanks, Ken. They had some more Dragon's Dogma footage. Again, as someone who's not too informed about Dragon's Dogma, are you excited for Dragon's Dogma 2? And did that new trailer show you anything that made you go, oh, hell fucking yeah?
I mean, I did like the part where the Gandalf-ass fucking wizard just takes out his staff and does like an ice blast spell, and then it shatters and does damage to the dragon. And then he fucking pulls out his claymore and runs up the ice that's left over and fucking does a huge ass fucking overhead swing on that dragon. It's like, that was pretty sick. I can't deny that. That trailer did a lot to get me excited for Dragon's Dogma 2, but I have to go and play Dragon's Dogma because I'm also not a Dragon's Dogma head, which many people have been yelling at me to play Dragon's Dogma, which is weird because, like, I don't remember when Dragon's Dogma came out, but it's one of those games where I had not heard about it until 2021, I want to say. Like, nobody was talking to me about Dragon's Dogma at all. It feels like that game didn't exist in my consciousness forever, and then like suddenly people are like, "Hey, have you played Dragon's Dogma?" I was like, "What the fuck is that? That's a fake game. You're not making sense." And apparently, it's been out for a while.
It's over a decade. It's been over a decade.
Jesus Christ. Well, hey, you know what else has been out for over a decade? BioShock Infinite. So maybe that's where my attention was, and I lost the bet on that one.
And let me see. There was some horror game things going on. They're doing a full remake of Until Dawn for some reason. It feels a little too soon to be doing stuff like that, but I don't know. They're fucking remaking everything all the time.
Sure are.
It must really be like some kind of, I mean, it's not even a must be. It's like absolutely just because it's a cost saving thing where it's just like they don't have to worry as much about the pre-production and all that. Like everything's there. They just gotta redo the assets and all that.
Yeah.
But it's coming to PC too.
Well,
so you can mod Until Dawn, I guess.
I would make all the characters Among Us beings.
That sounds pretty good.
But like they're life-sized.
Yeah, full size, like in like mascot costumes, running around trying not to get stabbed by the imposter.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some Silent Hill information. They showed a new trailer for the Silent Hill 2 remake, and it looks like Resident Evil 4. And I haven't played Silent Hill 2, but it feels like that game is not supposed to be super action, like fun time mode. So,
yeah, I think anybody who is a big Silent Hill fan either A, had their delusions shattered watching that trailer and realizing oh, this isn't going to be a good remake like I was hoping it was going to be, or they're still stuck in denial about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Silent Hill person myself, as previously mentioned, not a scary game person, but I have not heard great things about Bloober Team's previous work, so...
Oh no, they're horse shit. Everything about them is terrible. They seem to be legitimately bad people, even. So
I asked Rose the other day, what, like I said, like Bloober Team is such an awful name for like your development studio. Why are they named that? And she's like, they used to make Bloob, and I was like, what are you talking about? And then she linked this game that was like, I guess it was a DS game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Bloob Squad or something. I was like, what the fuck is that? It looked like a shovelware, like goes on sale immediately for 10 cents in like the bargain bin.
Yeah, that's what they did. They made like shovelware, like DS and like mobile games for a really long time, and then they hopped on the like horror game boom when everyone was like, cribbing off of Slender and PT and all that. And they hopped on that, and somehow it sold really well, and now they are like considered one of the big horror game dev teams, even though all their stuff is offensive and poorly made. Like it's frustrating, like it just sucks.
That's awful.
Yeah, they got handed the keys to like one of the most iconic franchises, but at the same time, it kind of seems like they were just like Konami's been kind of just taking pitches from whoever the fuck for their games. So I don't know.
I mean, we're on what, like year 9 of Konami having shot themselves in the foot all those years ago.
Yeah.
So
it does seem like they're trying to crawl back out, and there's some there's other places where I think that they are on the path to figuring it out, but Silent Hill is just a weird thing that I don't think they're really going to be able to, make people happy. Like, for example, this new game that also just shadow dropped called The Short Message came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's free. It's just out there, and I mean, the one thing about it that's kind of cool is that I have seen nothing but, oh, this is awesome, or oh, this is dog shit. There's no like middle ground. Like there are very strong reactions to it. But the fact that I am seeing a good amount of people being like, no, I actually really like this. It's cool. Like it's actually kind of cool that that there is such a strong reaction to something like this, and it's talking about a very heavy subject. From what I've seen, it's talking about like the teenagers growing up and dealing with the pressures of fitting in and bullying and suicide and stuff like that. And so it's tough to talk about that kind of stuff, and also that's not going to match everyone's emotions 1-to-1. Like people were bullied for different reasons, people went through high school and middle school in different ways, like not everyone's going to relate to that. So, at the very least, it is kind of intriguing that something did come out and had such strong reactions to it. I don't know. Like, I hope that Ryukishi 07 Silent Hill game is good, because it would honestly be everyone's like all upset about where Silent Hill is going. But like, if this free game, did have such a wide swath of interpretations, and then they do have that Ryukishi thing, that'd be cool. We could just ignore the Silent Hill 2 remake. We could just let talented developers take a stab at that concept, and then just let Bloober Team play with their toys and fuck off.
Yeah.
And then to wrap things up, there was the Death Stranding 2 trailer, where we have officially gotten the name of the game is now Death Stranding 2 on the beach. It's
honestly, it's the only part of the state of play that I was like actually excited for.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the big one, but what I loved talking to my roommates about, neither of them having played Death Stranding 1, is I said that, hey, I've played all of Death Stranding 1. That trailer, you were not benefited from having the context for anything in that trailer. Like, you do not have to play Death Stranding 1 to like be hyped about that trailer or understand anything, because there's some stuff where it's like, oh man, what does this mean? But like, it doesn't really matter ultimately, at least not for the purpose of like dissecting a trailer, because I've gone back and watched the older Death Stranding trailers, and then seeing those moments in the game when I was playing it, I want to say a couple years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those trailers don't really tell you fucking anything about what's going on, and that's more or less what this big trailer was as well. Like, there's a part where there's a big giant, like the moon is super close, and Norman Reedus' character Sam's walking towards it, and there's a part where he's in the desert, and it's like there's a puppet, and then there's Joker-fied, Gene Simmons out Higgs with a guitar battling a cyborg ninja who's presumably controlled by BB.
Yeah, he comes out and he's wearing his V for Vendetta mask, and then he takes it off and he's got the Joker paint underneath it, and everyone groans at his shit. And then he pulls out a guitar that shoots like electric bullets that fire out as he's playing like a guitar solo version of BB's theme from Death Stranding 1. And then,
of course, because it's a guitar, he uses it as an axe in combat, because of course you do. That's the thing you do with a guitar weapon.
Because it's sick as fuck. It's so sick. It's so sick.
The only one, I think, if I remember correctly, the only character who's ever not used a guitar as an axe weapon has been Dante in Devil May Cry 3, where he turns it into a scythe. But that's like, scythes are axe adjacent, so...
They are.
So, that trailer was fucking sick.
It was. And the fucking I did find out that the puppet is based on another director that he really likes too. Fatih Akin. Who just recently put out a new film called Rheingold. But man, it's gotta be fucking crazy, because George Miller is also in this too, like the director of the Mad Max films. And it's pretty funny because, like, I'm just imagining Kojima just being like, yes, Mr. Miller, you are going to be this, like, you know, seemingly he seems like a captain of this ship or something like that Sam is on in this game, and then just being like, oh yeah, Mr. Atkin, you're going to be this living puppet that is animated on the fours, so you look all disjointed but also very cool. And also, there's going to be a point where you hiss at Troy Baker. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
It's so fucking wild. Like, anybody who's still thinking like, oh yeah, Kojima really just wants to make like movies and not video games, and he's just stuck making video games. It's like, dog, he's got George Miller here. He's had Guillermo del Toro. If he wanted to make films, he would have already been making films. But I said this on Twitter, but any idea that he's had for making a film, he just puts in the games that he's been making for like years now.
I mean, he does want to make a film. Like, he's making a Death Stranding movie, and the last little thing that they revealed at this thing too was Kojima was just like, oh yeah, no, I am making something else with PlayStation, because, you know, like, he made Death Stranding and now Death Stranding 2 with PlayStation. He's making his horror game, which is most likely or OD or Overdose or whatever it's going to end up being. That's like a Microsoft thing. But he said, oh, I'm going to do something again with PlayStation, and pretty much just said, yeah, I'm going to make a new stealth game. Like, I'm going to make a new tactical espionage action, not Metal Gear.
I think it was called Physint, all caps.
Physint, yeah. Well, that's at least the working title. And I mean, they also confirmed that they are going to do some form of movie in a way. I mean, no, okay. Here's what he tweeted. Let me see this. The third new original IP since the establishment of Kojima Productions. It is a completely new action espionage for the next gen, created using cutting-edge technology, blah, blah, blah. Of course, this is a game, but the look, story, theme, cast, action, fashion, acting, sound, etc. are all on the next level of digital entertainment, so that could be called a movie. And I mean, he's making it with Columbia Pictures. I don't know, maybe it's just that it's going to have a big, like, movie budget, and he's going to be working with the tech that they use for film to make a game, which that'd be pretty fucking cool, and I would love to see how that shakes out. Just like having the backing of like a major movie studio on top of that, it's pretty neat. So I would love to see what this is.
I just think that he loves movies so much. He loves them.
Yeah.
He goes out and watches like all kinds of films, and not just films from Hollywood. He watches films from all over. He just loves film as a medium for storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think, again, this is just me. I can't speak for the man, obviously. But I think that if he had the impetus to want to go out and like direct a film, like he would have either already done it by now, or like he would have at least he certainly has the opportunity to.
Yeah.
And he certainly worked, and of course he's working with studios like Columbia Pictures, but I think, like, if I were in his shoes, I feel like, man, I really love films. But like, I'd still feel more comfortable directing a game, because there's other elements to game design that you can't really do in films. And
for sure.
His games have always had that element of cinematography for it. Even going as far back as like Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation, like the way that they structured the cameras for the cutscenes in those games, like, this isn't like a new phenomenon that he's just like, oh man, he's finally able to do stuff now that he's got like the technology's advanced, so we can have like hyper realistic renditions of Troy Baker as a Joker-fied villain. Like, no, he's always done shit like this. And it's been great that he's had effectively his own studio to like, and his own team to like, make these really, really incredible set pieces. Although I do have to say that, my God, does he need like an editor? Or he needs like 7. He needs 7 editors.
That's what we're all saying. Like, I mean, I do hope that him collaborating with these big studios and all that will sort of be part of the editing process. Like, I don't know how involved Jordan Peele is going to be with OD, but if Kojima's putting some dumb shit in there, if I were Jordan Peele, I'd be at the very least like, hey, Hideo, could you just do me a solid and not have the lady who has to walk around in a bikini because she breathed through her skin thing in this game? Because my name is on it too, like, at the very least. And same with like Columbia Pictures, being involved with that too, like, because I mean, Microsoft and Sony, they're just gonna be like, yeah, this game's gonna sell a quadrillion copies. Go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want. But hopefully having people outside of the games industry will course correct him a little bit. And yeah, I'm interested in I'm a little interested to see what Metal Gear with the numbers filed off will be from Kojima, but at the same time, I am at least very glad that he didn't like immediately jump to that like so many other developers did when they got booted from Konami. Like he was just like Iga and all that stuff. He was just like, yeah, I guess I'll do another Metal Gear thing when I feel like it, but for now I want to make my game where you walk a lot, and I want to actually make my Silent Hill game because you motherfuckers wouldn't let me. Like, we'll see.
He's a good of state of play.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're just we could stick with Konami for a second here. There was a big Yu-Gi-Oh event for the 25th anniversary. I think it was actually the 25th anniversary on that day. I think it was yesterday or today. Yeah, it was yesterday from when we're recording. And they announced a couple of video game things. They talked a bunch about the card game. They actually also announced that they opened up an animation studio, which they haven't confirmed any specific things yet. Obviously that might mean that they're going to be doing some animes of their games. Like, I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't see like a Suikoden anime in the future, because they're kind of bringing that back and all that stuff. But the video game stuff that they announced is they are adding some new like AI stuff to Master Duel, and not the AI stuff where they're just scraping stuff off the internet and stealing from people. They are just making it so there is a better better practice mode stuff where as you play against your computer opponent, it will learn from your play styles and will attempt to try to help you get better at the game, which is really cool. That seems that's a great idea for an online like card game thing, and it also gives it something that a free, like, well, not a cool, because Master Duel's free, but it gives it something that the online, like the stuff that came before Master Duel, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Pros and all that, would not be able to do, which makes it much more worth it to check that out for people who just want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! They also announced that there's going to be a VR experience where you interact with Kaiba's Duel Links Solid Vision experiments.
Can I interact with Kaiba instead in VR?
I mean, there's probably some places in VR chat where you can do that. I'm not gonna,
Yeah, but I want an officially licensed Yu-Gi-Oh! VR game where you get to interact with Kaiba.
I mean, I guess you kind of do. I don't know. It's a little hard to say what exactly this is. It's just like they have footage of like, oh hey, you summon Dark Magician Girl, there she is. Kaiba summoned Sagi the Dark Clown, there he is. There's Blue Eyes.
Like, I don't need the VR Kaiba interaction game, but you and I both know who needs that game. You and I know.
There's a good amount of people out there who are Kaiba freaks. I mean, there's the queen of Kaiba freaks that we follow on Twitter, who's a fucking legend who has so much fucking Kaiba merchandise that it is insane, and we love her for it.
She's so fucking cool.
She's so cool. I don't know, this looks like it's one of those, like, VR experience things that a lot of, like, Japanese devs put out, like that, like, thing that Fate Grand Order put out, where it was just like, hey, you get to, like, look at Mashu while she's training, or whatever, or that, like, laid-back camp thing, or it's like, oh, hey, you just get to sit here and look at this thing where the girls are camping. This seems like it's one of those things. I bet this is just, like, a proof of concept sort of thing, because... yeah, of course Konami is trying to figure out how to make it so you could just play Yu-Gi-Oh! With, like a VR headset or something, and it shows the monsters getting summoned and all that, just like it does in the anime. Like, of course they're trying to figure that out. This just seems like a step in that direction.
For sure.
And the last thing that they announced, which is neat, it's not something that we have gotten a confirmation outside of Japan for, but they did announce that they are planning on porting their old Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games to the Switch and Steam. They specifically were mentioning, like, the one from 2000 and the one from 2001. So I don't think either of those games actually came out over here, or is this one Sacred Cards? I'd have to look it up. Yeah. I'm just gonna see if there's like a... okay, yeah, it's called Early Days Collection. It is, okay, it's Duel Monsters 4 Battle of Great Duelist, which did not come out over here, and then Duel Monsters 6 Expert 2, which did come out over here as a Worldwide Edition Stairway to the Destined Duel. So, yeah, they are bringing those games back, which those aren't, like, incredible games, I will be honest. Those are, like, kind of, like, Worldwide Edition's, like, decent, but all those Game Boy Color games are not very good. But it's cool to have those, It's cool to have a modern way to play classic games, even if they are weird, shitty, old Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, Like, I have my copy of fucking, oh god, what is that game called? I have it literally right here in my big tin of GB Game Boy games. Dark Duel Stories, which I think that was like the second Duel Monsters game in Japan. So if they do end up porting those, I'm sure that'll be one of the ones that they bring out over here. If they do that, like, people are pretty nostalgic for those games. They have a lot of problems, but hey, I mean, if we're gonna be fucking real here, though, they need to bring out the, like, GX era DS games, like the fucking Tag Force games and shit like that, or like the PSP ones. If they port those, that'll be the shit. Those are the good Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. Or they could go real hard, and they could port fucking the PS1 game that is, like, the longest speed run ever. And maybe we could also get fucking Duelist of the Roses, so everyone can be introduced to, yes, my name is Henry Tudor, but you can call me Yugi.
incredible.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that they're like, revisiting a lot of stuff from their history. This is the 25th anniversary. They're doing a lot of cool stuff though. They're like really leaning into like the lore of Yu-Gi-Oh now. Like they put out like a 6.5 minute long trailer, which is just like animated things for like the cards. Like it wasn't even like, oh hey, here's just like a bunch of scenes of Yugi and like Jaden and all that. It's like, no, they showed off the cards because they have finally realized that people love the archetypes and they want to see like the lore that they put in the art of the cards in like animated form. And so I really hope that they make like straight up just like animes based on like Sky Striker and World Legacy and all that stuff. Like people would really like that. But I mean, yeah, they're celebrating the story so much. They're even like, oh hey, we're putting out. They're putting out a set that is just every card in the Albaz lore. Like it's the most recent like big lore story thing that they put out, and it was really successful for them. And people really like all those characters, and so they're just putting out a set that is like, yeah, you can just get reprints of all of those cards, so you can own every single card that tells the story of this story that we have put out. And then hey, maybe they'll do an anime of it, like a movie or a series, and just really capitalizing on it. Like it's legit really cool. Like I'm excited for Yu-Gi-Oh as like a fan thing, like a thing to enjoy, just not just as a card game, but as animes and games and celebrations of art. Like they're putting out fucking like posable figures of some of the characters. Like not even just like, oh hey, here's fucking Dark Magician. Like do you know who IP Masquerena is?
I do not.
They're putting out a fucking posable figure of her. Like that should tell you that they're like digging into like what modern Yu-Gi-Oh players like. Like they're like, yeah, they're still doing old school stuff, but they're doing cool things with the old school stuff. Like they were like, hey, we're getting the people that make those fucking Monster Hunter and Kaiju figures at SH Figure Arts to make Blue Eyes and Red Eyes figures. Like that's the kind of shit I fucking love. Like they're not just like, oh yeah, here's another Blue Eyes figure or whatever. They're like, no, we're making this a fucking Monster Arts figure. Like, yeah, that's what you got to do.
That is fucking wild.
Yeah, they're going out all out for their 25th anniversary, and I think that we're all gonna reap the benefits. Yu-Gi-Oh fans.
I predict in 5 years for Yu-Gi-Oh fans, what's going to happen is they're going to partner with Lego, and you're going to be able to make. I'll be conservative here, and I'll say you're going to be able to make 3 Lego versions of like the classic cards. You've got like the Dark Magician, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and I don't know, the Red Eyes Black Dragon, right? But it's not just, you're not just making those like characters. You're not just making like a Blue Eyes White Dragon out of Lego. They're going to come with additional Legos that you're going to use to construct the card of the monster itself as Legos for like a backdrop for the creature.
That would be pretty cool. Because I mean, I was going to say that they have been dipping their toes into model kits too. Like a couple of years ago, they put out a model kit of the Millennium Puzzle, and if I remember correctly, it like straight up doesn't come with instructions. So that way you have to make it just like Yugi did in the manga, which is really good.
That's pretty funny.
And I don't think it's released yet, but they are also doing a model kit of Exodia, like just like an actual just model kit. And I mean, that looks fucking great, and I'm definitely going to pick one up because it just looks incredible, and I would love to have a cool Exodia figure in any way.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm just stoked. Like, as the big Yugi head, I am just stoked for the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm gonna talk about their animation stuff again on the anime podcast, just because, like, I mean, I think even if you don't really care too much about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I think even just watching that trailer is exciting, because I'm just like, man, yeah, if they're gonna make stuff at that level, I'm pretty hyped. Like that would be cool to just see them. Like even if they're making stuff that isn't just Konami stuff, like if Konami Animation was just like, yeah, we're just gonna be like a new anime studio making all kinds of shit, like it was so high quality that I was just like, yeah, no, that I'm pretty stoked about that.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do one more bit of news, and then I want to talk about what I've been playing. Okay, probably the most insane thing that has ever happened about a gacha game. I cannot believe that they did this. I am still reeling to this day. This is like almost 2 weeks ago that this happened, and it's still fucking nuts. Love Live School Idol Festival 2 Miracle Live is finally getting released in outside of Japan. I think it just launched like a day or two ago. But in the exact same tweet where they announced, "Oh hey, yeah, it's coming out outside of Japan." Also, it's going to close down May 31st.
When I pointed out to in another server, a Discord server, that it didn't even have enough time to have a Persona 5 crossover, the one person in that server who is/was a Love Live fan linked that the original game did have a Persona 5 crossover, and they came out with School Idol Festival 2 for, I don't remember what the exact reasons were, but basically they wanted to, I guess they wanted to update the gameplay or whatever. Because the original game was just kind of, it was like a rhythm game, but there wasn't really that much reason to pull for better characters, more or less.
Right, yeah.
So they wanted to update that.
It was just like, we just like this character, basically. It's not like for...
But you were able to take some of your stuff from 1 and port it over to 2.
Right.
And there was this other intermediate game that, or this interim game that you were able to play while people have been waiting for the second game to come out, at least outside of Japan. And it's just like, on one hand, it's like, man, I'm glad all the people who worked on this don't have their work going to waste. But on the other hand, their work kind of is going to waste because it's only going to be available for play for 3 months. February, March, April, and then May. So 4 months.
Yeah.
And that's gonna suck.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the game has been out for like a year or two in Japan, and it's also shutting down in Japan as well. It feels like this must have just been some kind of contractual obligation where they were like, well, we signed the papers to release it outside of Japan. We gotta do it. It's ready to launch, but we're gonna shut this down in 4 months. I don't know, just insane, and it's especially insane that they are actively charging for things in this game. Yeah. And it's just gonna be gone in 4 months, and everyone knows it, and I don't know how they're gonna make any money. They shouldn't.
On the one hand, I don't really want this to happen for almost any game. I think that if people put in the work to make a game that also requires an internet connection, maybe it's an online game, I don't know, Team Fortress 2, or if it's a game that's requires you to connect to a server because the server is how they handle a bunch of the stuff this Love Live game, or a lot of gacha games. I don't want these games to be shut down and people not able to play them, especially if I don't know how, I've known, one of my friends is a huge Love Live person, or at least she was a huge Love Live person. But, people do have an attachment and a genuine interest in, these games that come out that then get shut down. And, it's funny when it happens in this context where it's they announced that the game is coming out and also that it's being shut down in the same tweet. Very hilarious. That has never happened before. It probably will never happen again.
It's nuts. Yeah.
But it always has a chance to happen. But I don't want these games. I don't get joy from these games getting shut down. But on the other hand, it's a gacha game. It's a gacha game. And what was I going to say here? I wish games that were online were able to just be preserved and able to be continuously maintained till the end of time. But on the other hand, the only reason a lot of these games have been made and were made to be online was for the express purpose of making as much money as possible. And I don't think that's a good reason for a video game to exist in the first place, even if the game is good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, what a weird turn of event. Like, because I remember Love Live was like extremely popular, like at least 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's definitely fallen off, at least in like the circles that I would know about.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem like it's. I mean, I think there is still an active game. I think like the main original game is still active, but I don't fucking know. Just what a weird.
Speaking of money, tell us about what you've been doing in the video game realm.
Oh, if we're talking about money, there's a game that has infinite wealth, and it's apparently I actually haven't. Nobody's mentioned anything about infinite wealth yet, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I've been playing the new Like a Dragon. I keep wanting to say Yakuza, even though that is basically what it is, and everyone's still calling it a Yakuza game. I'm trying to change my, change my nomenclature on it.
Everybody that I know just calls it Like a Dragon. Like everybody knows it's a Yakuza game, but everybody just calls it, like, at least everybody I know, they've switched to calling it Like a Dragon, because like the Yakuza games are their own thing, and then Like a Dragon is its own thing, even though they're very, very deliberately connected to each other. But So, how are you liking it, or dislike? I'm assuming you're liking it, since
I fucking love it. It is so good. I mean, the thing is that they haven't changed too much about it from 7. I mean, it's been a while since I played 7, but the combat does feel a little bit better, just purely because instead of just randomly wandering around as your character, hits their turn and things just randomly occur, you can now walk around in a sort of like zone of movement sort of dealio. So you can get closer to enemies. Like there's actually like a little bit of a bonus if you do a normal attack near an enemy. You get like a proximity bonus. And I actually haven't even unlocked like new jobs yet. Everyone's still using their original job for me. Ichiban's got his hero class, is just pretty much like a mix damage dealing and healing class, which, listen, any RPG where the main character is usually used a lot for healing, that's like a 95% chance your RPG is good. Like I think about like fucking Earthbound has that. Like Ness is the fucking healer. Like he does damage, but Ness is the fucking healer in that game. And Ichiban loves Dragon Quest, but I would honestly say that that Ichiban is way more of a Ness character than anything else. Like he does good amounts of damage, but he is all about healing and buffs and stuff like that as well. Kiryu's in this game.
Oh yeah, Kiryu. I was just gonna say that making the main character of your RPG like the frontline DPS character is a mistake that so many people fall into. It's They got to be the healer, or they got to be the tank, or they got to be the person giving people buffs. And if you want to go real sicko mode, they can be the person who's like cursing the enemies, like giving them debuffs and poisons and shit. But you never make them the frontline DPS. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's too simple.
And it also fits Ichiban way better too, because his whole thing is helping people and supporting people. Like, yeah, Kiryu was all about, he helps people a lot too, but Ichiban is like the most power of friendship, like let's cling together character ever. Like, dude, like I just got to a point where a character was like actively betrayed Ichiban and then was gearing up to betray him again, and then decided against it at the last minute, and they were basically just like, you're just so sincere, and you're such a dummy, but also I couldn't bring myself to bring harm to you because you believed in me so much that you were willing to, you were willing to just walk into whatever trap I had laid, because, if I had done it, you would have just rolled with it, and you would have understood it to an extent. And he was just like, well, yeah, but also you didn't have to call me an idiot, like it's just, he's a great character. He's so fucking good. they nailed it. Ichiban is such a good character. And Kiryu being there, again, I was kind of ready for it to be like, oh, okay, Kiryu's here again and all that stuff, but they figured out a perfect way to integrate him back in. You know, I haven't played the man who sold his name or gave up his name or whatever it's called. But you know, he's there as like a support kind of thing, but as time goes on, like he's there to support Ichiban, and Ichiban's there to support him because, you know, they showed it in the trailer, but man, it still hit like a ton of bricks when Kiryu drops the bombshell that he has cancer, and so he's not this invincible, you know, unstoppable force now. You know, he needs support from the others, and you know, there's moments where he's, you know, like out of breath and, you know, almost passing out because he's actually fucking worn out because his body is you know, shutting down, and it's heartbreaking, but it's also just like, man, they had to come up with like a legit like they couldn't even just be like, oh, he's old. Like, nah, there's old motherfuckers showing up, and I mean, I felt really bad, but I kind of laughed that they had to like come up with a reason why he has cancer. It's not even just like, oh, you know, like it's something that happens in your body sometimes, you know, like that is, people will just get cancer. But they were like, no, he was doing all these like underground jobs, and the only one that he was able to get was working with nuclear waste, and so he got exposed to radiation, and that's why he has cancer. And it's like, it's not funny that he's sick, but it's still just like they had to come up with this fucking like big reason why he got sick, because it's not like he just gets sick. Like, no, he had to have gotten fucking hit by radiation. You know?
He had to get cancer in the most extreme way. Pretty much.
Most Kiwami way, yeah, exactly.
And then, like, Ichiban, like, you were talking about Ichiban's a good character, and I just wanted to say that, like, there's good Samaritan, and then there's Ichiban, who is aggressive Samaritan.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, man, just, like, him helping a kid out with a lemonade stand is a side quest in this game. It's so nice. It's just so nice. And every new thing that I unlock, it's not like a tiny little thing that you're just gonna do here and there. Like, oh yeah, you could go play Mahjong, which, I mean, you could still do that. But I hit the point where they gave you the Pokemon side. I almost want to just say it's a side game. Mm-hmm. Where in 7, you know, Ichiban's whole thing was that, you know, because he loves Dragon Quest so much and he's a little crazy, whenever he gets in a fight, he sees it as an RPG battle. And all the like goons that fight him turn into like weird shithead monsters called Sujimon. And in 7, it was just, you're just going around fighting guys and you would fill out your Sujimon decks. And in this game, they were like, no, we're not doing this half-assed. You are able to straight up, like, you don't capture people. It's really funny the way you do it. You will fight a guy, and then they will be inspired by your power. So you have to give them a gift basket, and then if they accept it, they become your Sujimon. And then you can go around with a team of 6 Sujimon, and then do 3v3 battles with 3 backups against other people. And it's really basic. You know, there's type advantage stuff and some other little things here and there, but there's just this huge aspect to it. Like, you find Sujimon trainers out in the world. There are raids that go on that like Pokemon Go, where you go to try to catch rare, powerful Sujimon. Like, I like the fact that they were, you know, pulling stuff from the mainline games and Go as well. And all the dumb references too, like, you know, the fact that you're going to Hawaii and the Sujimon professor makes like a sun and moon reference, and I was just like, yeah, they get it. You know, they're not just like, oh, this is just like Gen 1. It's like, no, they're referencing stuff from like recent games too, and I appreciate that a lot. It's just like, I haven't even gotten to the fucking island that is basically, from what I have been told, just Animal Crossing. Like, they just have like a full fucking Animal Crossing, like, build your own place mini game, or not even, no, not like a game. Like, there are like 3 or 4 separate full games in this game, basically. It is nuts. And a lot of it's, pretty simple stuff, but like pair that with the main storyline and the RPG combat. It's so good. It is so fucking good.
God, they should have called it Infinite Games.
Infinite game. It is like an infinite game. There is so fucking much.
It's wild. And it's got the same typical gameplay loop that Like a Dragon 7 had, right?
Correct. Yes.
It's like, you're doing chapters and you've got the RPG battles system where characters have different jobs, and then yeah.
But again, I'm on like chapter 5 or 6. I don't really recall, but I haven't even gotten the option to switch my jobs yet.
I saw something insane. Somebody else was talking about. Where was it? Somebody's playing through 7 right now to gear up for Infinite Wealth. And somebody else was talking. They were asking, like, how long do I have to go? And they found out that they were about like 2/3 of the way through. And somebody said this insane thing where they said, like, oh, the last few chapters go kind of quick if you don't do the side stories. I was like, you're not doing the side stories in this series? What? That's all I ever hear people talk about is the insane random side quests you can do in these games.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm, quote unquote, taking so long, I guess. Like I haven't gotten to the point where you get the job switching because I've just been doing so many side quests. And I will say, too, Hawaii is such a nice new location, too, because there is that sort of overlap between, it being this, paradise and, a vacation spot. But there's a seedy underbelly, and then there's also like a lot of like, there's a good amount of Japanese immigration there as well. Like in the past and even today, they're touching on that a lot, where they're just like, yeah, they're like Japanese folks came to Hawaii a good long time ago, and there's still like people trying to come to Hawaii to try to find, from like Asia, trying to find that sort of American dream thing and not really being able to find it. And, they're just touching on like a lot of different like heavy topics at times, and still able to go through them with relative aplomb, and then also touching on goofy ass shit that's just fun. It's great. I fought Danny Trejo in this game. I did the Danny Trejo boss fight.
That's fucking
it was
incredible.
Good. My one gripe is that that Danny Trejo did not do the Japanese dub, which I understand. But I do wish that there was some way to just make it so you could just turn on his English dub voice for that fight, and that's it, instead of having everyone on, because I'm sure the dub is great in these games, but I am so married to the Japanese voices, especially since Kiryu's there. Like this isn't just me like dunking on the Kiryu voice actor. I know that he's got his problems, and I do agree that he does seem a little poorly cast, but I can't imagine hearing any other voice coming out of Kiryu's mouth. Like if we were talking about like 7 or Judgment or something like that, or it's like, yeah, I'll try the dub for those, but I can't change off of, I can't do anything other than Japanese in a game with Kiryu in it.
Yeah.
But I also want to hear Danny Trejo, but there was like one moment where he did speak in English, which was like, okay, yeah, there you go. There's Danny Trejo, which is very funny though, that like it's super obvious that they have different voice actors for stuff, because there's like a crooked cop that you fight at one point, and he switches between Japanese and English, and it is so obvious that it is a different voice actor. It is so funny. And like, again, I get why they do it, but it is just so funny just hearing this like deep Japanese voiced guy talking at one section, and then like the next section he's speaking English to somebody, and he has like a completely like a much higher register, just sounds completely different. It's very funny, and like, I'm sure to some people it might be like, whoa, what the fuck, but I just think it's funny.
Hell yeah. I'm glad. Yeah. Other people I know who've been playing it have also been saying really good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
So Can't wait to eventually get around to trying all those games. Most of them are
about
on
those
Game Pass, except for this one.
Yeah, all of them are on Game Pass except for this one. Like they even put Gaiden on Game Pass, which makes it a little surprising that this isn't on there. But I'm guessing it might just be like a thing where they want to sell it for a little bit before they put it on Game Pass.
I think that's fine. I think like you can have like the older games on Game Pass, then your new game you can have it to yourself for a while, and then you can put it on Game Pass later. I don't think there's any big issue. I'd be surprised if anybody pulled up a stink about that. But I think it's totally reasonable. So
I think it's very good. I'm probably going to play more of it before I go to bed tonight.
Hell yeah.
What else have you been playing though, Spencer? I don't want to go on too long here. You want to rattle off a couple of the things that you've been up to?
Oh, sure. So on the Epic Game Store, they recently they made Infinifactory a free game. And I was like, man, I really love Infinifactory. I should play that again. Because I remember getting towards like the end part of it and then never actually finishing it. Infinifactory is one of these Actronics puzzle games, alongside like Space Chem, TIS 100, Shenzhen IO, and Opus Magnum. And of all their games, I've only played 3 of them. I played Space Chem like way back when I was in college, and I liked it, but it was a bit too abstract for me, where you're making like compounds and chemicals. You're working with molecules of stuff, basically. And I also played Opus Magnum, which I really liked a lot. But Infinifactory is the one that I've always liked the most, because it's the first one that they made where you're like in a 3D physical space and you're literally making a factory and such. So you have to work with the physicality of the thing you're creating, and you've got to like set up conveyor belts and stuff. And it's got a light story about you've been abducted by aliens who are forcing you to like create a whole bunch of stuff for them. Like first there's basically an aptitude test where they're like seeing if you're intelligent enough to work with the technology for like deploying conveyor belts and stuff, and then it progresses to like you're basically making a delivery system for ammunition packs, and you're making you're replacing the cannons on tanks that have blown up. It eventually gets to the point where it's like, oh, you're packaging meat for them, so you have to like find a like catch system for the little critters that are jumping out of holes, like little moles. There's this one really funny part where like they ask you to make a furnished studio apartment, and it is a carbon copy of the cell that they're keeping you in. So it's not like, it doesn't hit you over the head with like, man, these aliens, they're kind of evil, but it's just kind of like it touches on stuff. Like there's one mission, there's this one puzzle where it's like they present you a giant fucking whale, and they ask you to separate it into red meat and white meat, and you have to kind of think of like, there's so much fucking whale that you either have to just like carve off huge chunks of it that just go to waste, or you try to be as meticulous and efficient as possible to get as much meat per whale as possible. And both of them have their downsides, because if you just try to be meticulous, it usually clogs up the supply line and it takes too long, and then the other whales get backed up. But if you just cut off huge chunks of the whale to get meat as fast as possible, then it's like you're wasting an entire fucking whale for like what amounts to like 10 pounds of meat, which is nothing. But it doesn't really like discuss the ramifications of that. It just kind of lets you sit there with it for a while. But the actual game is pretty fun. It's just your basic like, here are some blocks. Configure them. Sometimes you need to separate them, sometimes you need to destroy them, and then it regularly comes up with new blocks for you to play with, like lifters which levitate items, and one of the recent ones that I unlocked was the laser, which just like shoots a laser and just destroys everything in front of it. So but it's been nice to like go back and play it again, because it's just a nice little simple game. It's just fun to like pass the time on. Which is more than I can say for fucking Arknights, my dude. I put Arknights as like one of my games of the year from 2020. And I still really liked the game. Here I am 4 years later, still playing it. It's still fun, but like this new event they came out with is, God, it's insufferable. You know a level in a game is bad when all of the guides and all of the YouTube comments and all of the Twitter posts about the event are like, God damn it, I had to kill 3 dogs and my grandmother to beat this stage.
Yeah,
it's insufferable. I don't remember like the exact, like I'm just gonna like describe what the mechanic is, but basically you're fighting a bunch of sheep, and then there's like the sheep will turn certain tiles on the maps into pink steam. And when the sheep are in pink steam, they take less damage, and they also like some of them do like special attacks. So the pink steam is bad because if your characters are in the pink steam, they take more damage too. And then so to counteract this, you can deploy people next to water fountains to turn the pink steam into white steam. And like when your operators are in white steam, they take less damage, and then also if the sheep are in the white steam, they take more damage. So it's this constant like tug of war for basically map control of trying to like counteract the sheep making the map pink while you're trying to make it all white. And it starts out simple enough, but it gets to become this huge fucking resource drain. Like I'm just gonna use an analogy here. It's like, imagine playing a card game where you constantly have to, where the opponent has a card on the field that constantly forces you to discard cards out of your hand. That's what this mechanic essentially becomes. And a lot of people hated the previous event's mechanic, which was that there were cards, or there were enemies on the field that if you didn't deal with them quick enough, they would steal cards from you, basically. But I find that this sheep mechanic with the pink and white seem to be way more insufferable because like it just becomes a huge resource drain. And I'm at the very, very last challenge stage where you have to beat the boss, who's Dolly, the god emperor of all sheeps or whatever the fuck. He's just this big pink sheep and like a huge cloud or whatever. And he's got like 150 points of shield on him. And so you have to like 150 points means he has to take 150 attacks for parts of the shield to break. So, but it's a nightmare. Like I actually recorded myself clearing like the 4th stage just because it was such a fucking pain in the ass, and I was like, I'm gonna do it, and I did it, and it was great. But that Arknights game, let me tell you, it's. I'm at the point in the game finally after all these years where it's like I can actually do the hard content in the game, and it's like I'm in hell now. This was a mistake. I should have never come here.
Right.
Like I've done like my raid group in Final Fantasy fairly recently finished like the raid tier, and it's like that raid tier is nothing compared to this fucking event and this fucking stupid ass gacha mobile game. It's absurd. But other than that, I haven't really been doing much else. It's just been Library of Ruina, Lethal Company, Infinifactory, and Arknights. Kind of been dialing it back a bit for opening up in 2024 because I know like we got a whole other year of video games to go on.
We sure do. All right, let's touch on some more news here. So the Persona 3 Reload came out recently, and I mean, if I wasn't playing Like a Dragon, I would probably be playing that. But
it certainly seems to be Persona 3 again, except
they updated it a bit. That's what they did. They remade it. I think that's they needed to remake Persona 3, I think, and they did it.
They did it.
But of the 2 things that people are saying, oh man, where is this? That we haven't gotten an official confirmation on is, are we going to get the answer from the Persona 3 re-release that they did on PS2? And are we going to get the female main character from Persona 3 Portable? Well, it does seem like we're probably not going to get FemMC, but some data mining happened on Persona 3 Reload, and it seems like we're going to get the answer. There is some DLC stuff that's like exploration items and background music and costumes and shit like that, but one of them is just this episode I guess, which they're gonna do the answer. Yeah.
This Persona 3 remake, are they going to add the female main character as a playable protagonist, is such an unforced error. The likes of like, hey, that's a cool new Sonic game you're coming out with. Are you going to add like a Chow Garden? No. It's like that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you mention Persona 3 remake in any conversation in the last 10 years, maybe more than that, and people will be like, oh man, it's going to have like
Where
the female
is
main
she?
character. Yeah, it's fucking Dark Knight. Where is she? It's the same. That's the only thing that I've ever heard. And then like once it was confirmed, like, oh shit, we're getting a Persona 3 remake. That was the only question people were asking. They were probably asking like, are we going to get the answer as well? But like the main question number one was, are we getting the female main character? And people have been asking that for so long. One would think that they would have at least like, done a poll or gotten some feedback, say, hey, y'all want like the female main character to be playable? Is that something you're interested in? Because they would have gotten an emphatic yes from the entire fucking world.
It's a bummer so it's like I'm kind of two minds, just because like she is absolutely written better. Like playing Persona 3 Portable and playing the original, she is just a much more fun character. But then also at the same time, it's just like her being a positive ray of light at times and being like kind of a persnickety shithead sometimes, like she's fun, but it's also like it's Persona 3, and having the emo boy who looks like he's seconds away from jumping off the building, saving the day, kind of means it matches Persona 3's flavor a lot more. And so I'm not saying like, oh, there shouldn't be a female main character ever. Like, no, I'm not saying that, but it's more just like that specific female main character. She's a great character, but I also understand if they like sat there and were just like, she doesn't really gel well with this. Maybe we should just have it be the main dude, and then we can just like, I'm hoping that they do, male and female main characters in 6 whenever that comes out. Because there was some data mining of like an old version of Persona 5, and they dug up some stuff that seemed to have pointed that they were thinking about doing a female main character in that one. Like, they should do it in 6, especially because the director is not going to be attached to that one when they do it. So, yeah, let's do it. I mean, if you want more proof that that it really does seem like the director of the last couple Persona games was the problem, they remade 3 without him, and they took out the transphobia immediately. Like, there you go, folks.
Yeah, I don't really have a horse in the race of anything relating to Persona 3, so it was technically the first Persona game I tried playing, and I got to like the first boss, I want to say, and then I was like, I did that thing I talked about earlier. I'm going to put this down and I'll come back to it later. I never did. But we are 2 whole PlayStations away from when I was playing Persona 3. Like, we've had the PS4 and now the PS5. So, because I was playing it on the PS3.
Mm-hmm. I am glad that they remade it, but yeah, it's just, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, we'll get the answer. That's nice to have. We'll see what happens as time goes on. Let's see here. Oh yeah, hey, speaking of being able to play a game that many people haven't for a while, Fate Stay Night, the original VN that started it all, is getting a remaster for Steam and Switch, and it is coming out outside of Japan. They are finally releasing original ass Fate Stay Night outside of Japan. It is based on, I think, the PSP version. So, sorry everybody, no H scenes, which, some people are probably just, whew, right now. Not necessarily because they're prudes, and more just, oh god, we don't have to read that writing. Oh god, we don't have to read Nasu trying to be sexy.
I don't think you need to. I don't think people are going to Fate Stay Night for the H scenes anyway.
No.
Like, even if that's what you want and what you like, it's like,
they're not good.
It's not good, and you can. There's better channels to get that kind of shit. So, But my question about Fate Stay Night Remaster and coming overseas, and now it's going to be in English. Is Natsu going to do that thing where they make us call her Altria and not Artoria? Natsu's going to do that. It's going to say like, oh yeah, it's Altria Pendragon, and not Artoria Pendragon. It's going to be Altria.
It probably is.
That fucking little pervert.
It's
I don't know.
It's so frustrating. Like it's so obvious. No. Like I mean, obviously we don't know for sure, but like the thing that makes sense to me is if he ran her name like within like whatever Japanese characters he used to spell it through like Google Translate, and it came back Altria, and he just decided, no, okay, yeah, Google Translate told me that it has to be true, because they went back and changed it in Melty Blood. Like the fact was they had her name as Arturia in Melty Blood, and then they patched Altria in later. Because I'm guessing that Nasu saw it and was like, hey, don't do that. You're wrong. And everyone's just like, you're wrong. You're insane. It's Artoria. Like,
and it's not even a case of we want to say it as Artoria because it's like we love that it sounds bad or whatever. No, it sounds better that way.
She's King Arthur, Artoria. Like, come on.
There's no L there, my friend.
Yeah. Like it really just feels like he ran it through some sort of translation app and then just decided that the program told him nobody else.
The big brain thing is we have Saber as Artoria and then Saber Alter as Altria. That's the big brain play.
Because then she would be the alt.
Can't have shit in this timeline.
Can't have shit. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean, we are going to have on Steam and Switch Witch and the Holy Night, Tsukihime, and Fate Stay Night within like a year and a half.
That's impressive.
That's really cool. Last bit of news here. This is another big one. I think it was a fun idea to do a big one first and then a big one last year. This is not an official announcement, but The Verge and some other places are reporting that Microsoft is seemingly ready to start shifting to multi-platform again, in the sense that a lot of their Xbox exclusive stuff is most likely going to be on PS5. For example, The Verge says that Indiana Jones is tentatively going to be a PS5 game as well. There's also the fact that Hi-Fi Rush is like definitely going to be on PS5 and Switch very soon. There was some data, like, there were rumors for a good while. I think there was like an ESRB rating, and then someone data mined Hi-Fi Rush on PC, where there are like T-shirts that you can wear based on what console you're playing the game on, and like there's one for Xbox versus Shadow Dropped, and there's one for Steam and Epic Games and all that. But there's one that says, I'm here, baby, and it's blue, like the PlayStation. And then there's one that's Rock Out Anywhere, and it's red like the Switch colors. So, yeah, they're at the very least, Hi-Fi Rush is like definitely coming to PS5 and Switch. But, yeah, it sounds like they're going to do Indiana Jones. And another one that is being reported on is that Starfield is going to come to PS5 after they put out their Shattered Space expansion.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, there's some other talks about like Hellblade, and it really does just seem like they're gonna start being multi-platform, which is like, man, that's kind of crazy that they bought up all these companies, and seems like they need to they need to put stuff out on other consoles. And I mean, that's good for the consumer. I'm not gonna say fuck that, because this is a good thing for the average Joe. But it is pretty wild that, they did all these acquisitions and now they're just kind of like, well, nobody's going to play it on Xbox, so.
Man, it's a bad time to exist if you're still at middle school and really insistent on Microsoft and Xbox being the best console because you need to win the console war.
wacky. It's wild. I'm probably gonna buy Hi-Fi Rush on Switch or something. That seems like a fun way to play that game. I mean, as long as it doesn't run like shit, but we'll see.
We'll see.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss before we do our question and then wrap it up?
No, I think we're good to bring this on home.
All right. Here we go. If you want to send a question, you can go to gamesline.tumblr.com/ask. Something like this. Cello Buster asks, what other games from past generations do you think should get remade with an inexplicable campaign added where you play as the edgy side character? So what else deserves the Sonic X Shadow Generations treatment?
So I didn't have an answer to this when we started recording, but my answer just came to me.
Yes.
Q*bert. They should remake Q*bert and give Q*bert a full-on huge-ass 3D platformer, and then the edgy character is the snake. So you get to play as the snake.
We get to learn the mythos behind the snake.
I think,
or do they not even introduce what the mythos is? They're just like, okay, well, the snake's gonna have.
That's what the game would be. It would be like, oh man, Q*bert's just this like blank arcade character with like no story or whatever. He just jumps around on cubes and changes their colors. That's why they call him Q*bert. It's like, we're just gonna make a full Q*bert game. We're gonna create the Q*bert mythos. And I think you give this to most development studios, and it's just going to be like, it's not going to go over so well. It's not going to hit right. I think if you wanted to do this in a way where it actually be entertaining and a fun thing to play, I think you'd want to go in not a Banjo-Kazooie collectathon style game, but certainly more of like that style of like N64 platformer, you know? Because I think restricting Q*bert to still only just moving around by jumping on cubes would be bad, especially if you're changing it to a 3D platformer. But mostly I'm just excited because of the idea, because like nobody is out here making Q*bert games. There's a whole untapped goldmine of Q*bert games we could be having, and nobody's making them. So, you have an answer for this question, John?
It's a little hard to say. Like, I'm just trying to think of.
Yeah, okay. That's why I did. You got one?
I got a little inspired by looking at my desk because I have an Optimus Prime transformer on my desk. It's the one where he's like a piss color, which is very funny. And that is why I own it, by the way. But there is an alternate universe thing in Transformers called Shattered Glass, where it's the inverse. The Autobots are evil and the Decepticons are good. So like Optimus Prime is a villain and Megatron's good. And so I just thought about Transformers Devastation, the Platinum game, and I was thinking that game wasn't that bad. It would be cool if they had like a Shattered Glass new story where it's just like, yeah, here's the one where you play as Megatron and he's good, and then you got to fight Optimus and he's bad. I think that would be cool. I think they should do a big Shattered Glass thing. Like, I'm a little surprised they haven't like put it in the movies or anything yet.
I think it'd be good as long as Megatron still turns into a gun, but like it's a squirt gun because he's a good guy now.
He's like, don't worry, I only fire non-lethal bullets, and then everyone's just like, bro, that shit still hurts. You can still break someone's bones with that shit. And he
turns into a high pressure super soaker. That's a pretty good idea, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they should just. Where's the big Beast Wars game that we all want? Like, there was like an N64 fighting game, but I think a Beast Wars just action adventure game would be pretty cool. Trying to think what else. I'm doing my usual turn around and look at my game collection to try to think of something.
Yeah, because like this is a really good question. It's just like when I read it the first time, I thought, I don't know, because a lot of the games that I want to get remade, like they've already been remade, or it's like I wouldn't want them to be remade. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not even just thinking of like remakes. I'm even just thinking about like new entries that have a focus on the edgy side character. I mean, didn't they kind of do that with like a Legacy of Kain? They I'm pretty sure that like 'cause they did like Soul Reaver or whatever, and I think that was like I'm like 90% sure that is what they ended up doing. Was like they ended up doing Soul Reaver, and that was like the other character or whatever. I mean, honestly, I would love to hear other people send stuff in. I would fucking love if more people would send in like replies to questions and stuff too. That would be fun. If you all listen to this and you were like, damn, I came up with a really good one, send in an answer. We'll read off answers for these questions next time. I think that would be a fun thing to do.
Definitely.
So yeah, folks come up with the edgy. Oh, I got another one. I'm looking at things on my desk again. I got another one. Let's do a game where they did those Spyro remakes not too long ago. Let's do a thing where you play as the fucking egg thief. I want to do a mode where you're going around collecting eggs.
Yes. Oh,
and you gotta run away from Spyro. You gotta find the correct path to get away from Miss Purple Ass. That's my idea.
Fucking Billy the Hatcher. I'm Jerry the Snatcher. Fuck you. Those are my
villain,
eggs.
The evil man collecting eggs. He's stolen the dragon eggs. You have to stop him, or I got a little winded. Yeah,
That's a good fucking idea. That's a good idea. This is a good idea. This should happen. I want this immediately.
All right. Well, I think that was a good episode. Spencer, thank you so much for your time.
It was my pleasure.
Absolutely. Let the folks know where they can find you while I pull up the information again so I don't get it wrong.
You can find me under your house. It's where I'm buried, and I'm gonna maybe steal some jalapenos out of your fridge, so watch out. But on the internet, you can find me in our Discord server, the gamezone.zone. Type that into your browser, it'll take you right to us. You can also find me on Twitter at SolairHazard, and on Tumblr at SkullHazard.
I am like 90% of the time just on Twitter at JOHN_MICHONSKI. But I'm also on Discord. I'm gonna be trying to hop into the Gamesline Discord more often. I think it'd be fun to like have some game nights and stuff. I'm not gonna promise any specific days because work's been killing me lately, and I would like to figure that out though. But yeah, I'll try to be in there more. But I am also playing Like a Dragon, so I don't know how much gaming I want to do, multiplayer goof off stuff, because right now I'm just like, man, I just want to see what's up with Ichiban. I need to see what's up with my buddy Ichiban. But if you want to continue to support us, we have our website, gamesline.net, where we post all kinds of content and writing and videos and stuff like that, all up on there. You can follow us on Twitter at @thegamesline. You can follow us on Tumblr, gamesline.tumblr.com. And then if you put a /ask at the end of that, you can ask us questions. Facebook.com/gamesline. YouTube.com/@thegamesline. You have to put the @ or it doesn't work. I don't know why they did that, but that's just YouTube for you. Twitch.tv/GameslineTV. You can go on there and watch us stream sometimes. I don't know when we're going to do another one. Again, Game of the Year's really thrown a wrench into stuff. We are like barely able to get that shit done. It's frustrating, but we're figuring it out. Patreon.com/Gamesline. I know that it's maybe not the most exciting stuff recently again, because it's been, like we've been taking time off and all that. But if you want to listen to stuff a week early, it's $3 a month. $3. And also, the more money that we do get, the more stuff we will be able to do. I know I say that often, but it is true. If we are able to get more money, we will be able to do more things on this site. So it would be such a boon to get some more dough in that Patreon. And we thank everyone who is already signed up on there. We'll figure out maybe some more perks as time goes on. Our Discord, as I said, we're trying to hang out in the Discord more. It is thegamezone.zone. If you type that into your web browser, it'll bring you straight there. And thank you to Melt Channel/Magic Circuit for our theme song Crush off of the album Magic is Real. If you want to listen to their stuff, it's meltchannel.bandcamp.com. or magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. I know that Magic Circuit has been posting some like new visualization stuff on YouTube for some of their old songs, and I think they're cooking up some new stuff too, so check that out. It's cool. And that should do it. I want to thank you for listening, everybody, and we will be back soon. I hope next week, but I'm not going to promise you. I would like to have another episode next week of the Gamesline Podcast. So long.